Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's June the 20th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented by LifeWallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt Shodell, the time was now this past weekend for the Miami Hurricanes to start making a move in recruiting, and picked up a couple, 3 big commitments this weekend. 2 of them tight ends that I think are exceptionally good players that we'll comment more on here in a moment and show some highlights of them. And we've been talking about this on this show for many, many days, how, I guess I was accused of being too optimistic, and I was saying that I really could see recruiting about to turn the corner. Matt, I think that happened this weekend. I think even you, the negative Nancy of CaneSport, would have to admit that things are moving now in the right trajectory.
This is a horrible morning for the Doomers. Horrible. The Doomers are getting murdered. Mario Cristobal is literally on the field slaughtering the Doomers by the thousands. I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to behave in this new world of Mario Cristobal's. I really don't. I mean, are you supposed to be happy? I don't like being happy. It's unusual. It's not a feeling Miami Hurricane fans are used to. Miami Hurricane football fans are not used to this. Landing commitments after visits and having, it seems like some top recruits coming on campus and having Miami in the mix. Like, I don't know, man.
It's endless.
I know. Wait till this weekend, man. You think last weekend had some nice pop to it? I mean, next weekend's going to be ridiculous. If there's any Doomers left by the end of next weekend, I mean, I might be the last one left after that. It's very lonely. It's getting very lonely.
People are still taking this literally. Matt is not a Doomer. We clown around, but here's the thing. It's not just next weekend. It's today. It's tomorrow. I mean, it's like it's seemingly every single day there's top shelf recruits coming through campus. The staff never gets a day to just take a deep breath. I mean, this is recruiting overload right now. We haven't seen anything like this, Matt, maybe in our entire CaneSport existence.
Well, no, I mean,
think about it. Like, even Butch Davis, they were elite recruiting during the Butch Davis era, but it was nothing like this. I mean,
this is a different era. This is what I like. Okay, we covered the team in 2001 and prior. I mean, they had great recruits. Every
wasn't constant action like this.
No, but the difference is back then every top recruit wanted to be a Hurricane. Now they're working to get top recruits. The truth is, Gary, I mean, we could put a brave face on this, and at the end of the day, like, maybe these guys are great, maybe not. The tight ends had great offers that committed. The receiver not so much, but like, there's just because these guys are coming, like, we could say how great everything is. Like, I always say, show me. Like, I'm the kind of guy who I'm going to wait till signing day. Like, I'm not going to say, oh my God, we turned the corner like you and be like, oh, it's all.
No, I'm not trying to oversell. I'm not.
Well, you're all roses and ice cream, and I'm all.
No, I just know that we haven't seen anything like this.
I'm used to being disappointed. I want to cover a winning team more than anybody. Nobody wants this team to do better than I do, but I've conditioned myself. It's like Stockholm syndrome. If you're stuck in a corner by yourself, and you're constantly getting hit by loss. When you think a team's going to be good one year, like, you just get used to them not being good. Like, that's what you expect. That's what Miami Hurricane fans should expect, because guess what? That's what history has shown the last 20 years with 5 or 6 different coaches. You start to think maybe it can't be fixed. And then Mario Cristobal comes along and he ruins everything. He takes me out of my corner. He brings me out in the sunshine.
We have not seen anything close to this, seriously. I'll compare it to the Butch era, because the thing that made Butch so great was his evaluations and how he didn't miss on kids, and they identified kids that were kind of a little off the radar that were going to be great players. Even guys like Ed Reed, Reggie Wayne, that they pulled out of Louisiana. I mean, that was elite evaluation of talent that was taking place in that era of Miami football. This is competition for the best players going into college football, and Miami's in the mix for so many of them. We have not seen anything close to this as a fan base, as CaneSport, however you want to look at it. We have not seen anything like this. And Matt, you've got to agree. You have to agree with me. We haven't seen anything close to this.
I agree, but I'm not going to rain on your parade, but I'm going to tell you the reality is they recruit kids harder than anybody, but, and this is a big but, because this is what we're going to find out on signing day. Are these kids taking vacation trips? Because we know in the past, Miami coaches have been like, we're not going to waste our time. Oh, we're not going to waste our time with that kid, even though he's a 5-star, because we'll never get him. He just wants to take a vacation. Mario's like, take your vacation. Come see what we got here. You're going to want to be a Hurricane. And they try to convince them to become Hurricanes with everything they do down here and showing them the future. Now, will it work? I don't know. Like, you're going to get every 5-star you want to come to a vacation in Miami.
Can I just hit a timeout for a minute? Sure. Okay, I want to make one point. And I don't disagree with what you're saying. They're not getting all of these kids. But when you're fishing for these type of in these type of deep waters for this type of caliber of player.
Leave the fishing analogies to me. Just use other terms, please.
Okay, whatever analogy you want. When you are competing for players of this level, you're not getting all of them. That's not the point. But the point is that you're willing to go toe-to-toe and slug it out for 10 rounds and be willing to lose. They're not afraid to lose for the best players in America. I love it. I love the effort I'm getting. The one qualifier I'm going to say is that they do need to make sure that they take care of the home base with the top players locally and make sure that they are doing a good enough job recruiting them while they're fishing with all these elite prospects all over the country. This is why Mario has as many staffers as he has, quite frankly.
This is what was so brilliant. I talked to you about this the other day when we were just talking, the rare times that I'll actually answer your calls. One of those rare times I was just bored, so I took your phone call. We were talking about, I think you said to me, it's great we're getting the out-of-state kids, but it would be great also to see some South Florida kids come on these officials. And what I thought about it, what I realized is it's brilliant because the way recruiting is now is not how it used to be. It used to be you sign in February, you take your officials in December and January when your high school season's over. Great. Now signing day's in the middle of December, which basically is right up against high school playoffs for teams all across the country if you have a decent high school team. So top recruits, I'm getting so excited I can't even speak. Top recruits from out of state, it's going to be difficult to get them to schedule an official visit to Miami, no matter how much fun it would be on a vacation type of deal in the fall to be here. They can't do it. There's no schedule availability. Yep. And even if there is a bye weekend, there's going to be 10 different schools trying to get that kid on that particular weekend. So June's when you got to bring the out-of-state kids in, period. And then come September, October, November, December, you bring in the area kids. They can come on a Sunday unofficial for a practice. They can come any day they want, honestly. Mario's never going to say no. They can say, hey, coach, I'm going to be free between 2 and 5 a.m. Mario will be like, I'll be at the door waiting for you, that's how they operate, which is great. But then you bring the official visitors in locally, and I imagine what Mario's planning is a huge weekend, the weekend before that early signing period, where you bring in every top local recruit, and you get them bonded, like your big thing, Gary, bond everyone together. They all come together. Well, that's when you do it. When you have kids who are already friends, not at a camp where they're all just working out with coaches one-on-one, but in those official visit scenarios where they're already friends, you get them all hanging out together. It could be 20 or 30 top local kids. I don't even care. On that weekend before December, they'll all be buddy-buddy, and that could give them enough momentum, honestly, to land. People were asking me the other day about Mark Fletcher. Do you still think Mark Fletcher's coming? I feel good about it, but the team has to run the ball well during the season or he's not coming. The offensive line has to look better than the last few years or he's not coming. But I'm the optimist always, Gary. I think the offensive line and the running game is going to be a lot better with this new coaching staff. And I think when he comes in December, which I think he will do officially, with all these other guys locally, even the Brandon Innises, maybe they'll get him out here. Who knows? You get all these guys together, man. Turn the U back into what it was, get them around the program. You don't know what might happen. Things are crazy in recruiting. It would not shock me if some of the guys, even the Hakeem Williams out there, that people are like, there's no chance. Crazy things happen, man. And I won't mention the 3-letter word that 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 we can't discuss because it would be illegal to do it. But that three-letter word gets every school in the country bandies it about, and you don't know what's going to happen. And it could be pro Miami, it could work against Miami, but anything can happen. Miami fans should be very excited, not because of the 3 commits from the weekend, but because, and not even because they're getting all this top talent on, but because of how it's being run. You can see there's a method behind the madness. They're bringing in the top out-of-state talent now. They're going to bring in the top local talent together in the fall. Like, that makes sense. In the past, we'd be like, what they're doing doesn't make sense. Why are they doing this? Why is this kid at a game when there's 25 fans booing the team? You didn't understand why you bring an out-of-state kid in the middle of a season as one bye for a horrible game where no one's coming. There was things that just didn't make sense. Why is he who can't be named and the rest of the staff sitting in a corner at a barbecue while the recruits are all wandering around aimlessly?
Yeah,
there are things you couldn't explain.
It's stunning, the difference. Stunning.
It's a stunning difference. But again, I don't want to get everyone too excited because, like I said, I've been in the corner in the dark for too long. I'm going to wait till signing day, relax a little bit, and let's just see what happens. They might get a bunch of commitments next weekend too, but I'm waiting it out. I'm playing the long game.
There's some bottom lines. They're not getting everybody. Okay,
they're getting everybody, Gary. You know that.
No, they're not getting everybody when you're competing for kids of this level. But I like the fact that they're swinging for the fences. They're not taking jags. They're not just filling the roster with average players. There is no reason to. You have the transfer portal down the road to fill in any gaps that you need to fill in with players that you actually have game tape on at the college level. So there's no reason for a program like Miami to sign average high school players. Okay, now, I'm not sure I would have used Brandon Ennis as an example. He seems to want to leave town. But I want to talk about these tight ends because just a phenomenal job by Steve Field recruiting this position. There's actually 3 guys that I think they could sign. 2 of them are committed right now. Jackson Carver, Reed McKeska are committed. And then Riley Williams is another tight end that visited this past weekend that I think they could get to commit if they want. And let me start out here, Matt. Let's throw some tape of Jackson Carver on. When you look at this, you see a kid that's a big target in the flat, across the middle, can just do so many different things. And Miami has been recruiting a lot of tight ends, obviously, through the years. But, these guys are prototypical, NFL-looking tight ends, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, you could see why Jackson, people compare him to Travis Kelce. It's interesting because they're 2 different types of tight ends. I sort of see Jackson as a more physical guy, and Reed is really pretty lanky and really actually very raw. I was talking to one of his coaches yesterday about him, and this is a coach who coached him all growing up, and he was a basketball player growing up, never even played football till 9th grade, played JV football in 9th grade as a tight end wide receiver. His 10th grade year, he was hurt almost the whole year with a hamstring injury, barely played. So he's really only had a couple of years of actual varsity experience. But you can see the upside. You could see, his father was Matt McKeska. I don't know how many people know that.
This is Jackson Carver, but look how physical he is. He's pancaking guys.
Yeah, I'm talking about Jackson Carver before, but I'm trying to move on to Reed.
Well, I'm going to move on to Reed here in a second. I just wanted to show a couple more highlights from Jackson because, this is a kid that can block also. All right, now
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's more of a physical guy. The other guy's more of a receiving, lanky guy.
This is Reed.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say before I was so unceremoniously cut off, I don't know if you know, that's Matt McKeska's son. Matt was a defensive end for Virginia. I think we actually covered games where they played against Matt McKeska. Do you remember him, Gary?
I do not.
Yeah. But he's more of a long athletic project. And I don't like to say the word project, but I mean, he is. He's got it. He's still got a lot of, you could see just how thin he is. You remember when, I don't want to compare him to Evidence Njoku, but he's wearing the same number.
Did you see that? He just blocked the guy 15 yards down.
Gary, you in the highlights. You don't understand how highlights work. He blocked a guy who was 5'9" and 160 pounds, okay?
but I'm looking at the effort.
But when you look at him wearing number 83, you think Evidence Njoku, which is not what you want to think. But, he's going to have to not do what Evidence did. Evidence wasn't coached up. Evidence was injured. Evidence never got the weight put on. This kid has to get coached up and put the weight on. If he does those 2 things, he's going to be unbelievable. I mean, you could see he's got the athleticism. He's got the former basketball player, which you love tight ends that are former basketball players. I wish I could think of a tight end who was a former basketball player, Gary. Do you remember anybody who was a former basketball player who played tight end at Miami? I'm drawing a blank.
Well, I mean, but the thing about Jimmy Graham is that was funny is that he became a tight end by accident. These kids are coming out of the gate. But so that's Reed McKeska, Matt. And the thing about these kids is they're being sold on Josh Gaddis's offense and the way he uses the tight ends in that offense. And this past weekend, Riley Williams visited. He has not committed yet, Matt, but I heard that visit went extremely, extremely well, and that Riley Williams might want to come to Miami. And I don't know what they're going to do. Like, I don't know if they could take 3. I don't know if the kids would go along with them taking 3. I don't even want to make a prediction there. But I mean, take a look at this Riley Williams kid, and like, how do you turn this down if this kid wants to come? I mean, he's another big tight end with a huge catch radius that can just do so many things that can screw up a defense.
Yeah, he to me looks more like a Brevin Jordan type, do everything, line up wherever guy.
Yeah, but look at his feet. Look at it. I mean, the kid is a pure athlete. He's a basketball player, by the way, Matt.
It makes no sense for him for Miami to take 3 tight ends in this class, but who am I to judge?
Well, they may sell them on a 3 tight end, a lot of 3 tight end sets in the offense.
I understand that, but you listen. I know fans want to take everybody right now, but you do need to balance classes, right? So you take 3 tight ends this year, you're getting no tight ends next year, maybe 1 the next year. Like, I'm a big fan of having talent that's going through the ranks and getting coached up and more talent behind it in every class. Like, that's just me. Call me crazy. I'm not a fan of taking 2 quarterbacks, for instance, in a class, because you're not getting a quarterback the next year if both those quarterbacks are any good. And if they're not any good, then why are you taking them? So that's just how I've always viewed things.
I'll take Emory Williams and Jaden Rashada right now and worry about it.
I know you would. I'm just telling you, I'm not a fan in general of doing that. I'm a fan of balanced classes, coaching guys up, talent behind talent, stacking talent, not taking too many guys at one position in a year, and one of those guys will never play or 2 of those guys will never play. That's just not how I do it. That's not how I would do it. I would take the best guys who I know are going to be hits and not the projects, but
they may have to evaluate, can Riley Williams be like a Darrell Langham type of receiver? Big.
The Darrell Langham guy is going to be McKeska.
Yeah, I mean, they're all like so versatile. I don't know. I don't want it to go too much into 3 tight ends here because that would be way premature, and we don't need to waste our time on that today. Right now with 2 committed, but I just heard Riley Williams like Miami a lot, so we'll see what happens moving forward. All right, man. Let's see here. Let's just talk real quick about some of the other visits. Let's start with Juco wide receiver Colby Young, since he's also a commitment. He's going to enroll for Summer B. We talked a little bit about him last week. Time's going to tell how big of an impact that Colby Young can make on this football team. But they made it clear, I think they wanted another receiver, and they've spent several months looking for that guy. And Colby Young is the best that they've been able to find and get at this time. I think that's why they took him, Matt. And, he's another body to throw into the competition at receiver.
I mean, like I just said, I just keep it real with you guys. I know everyone wants me to say how great everybody is, but I'm not a guy, if I'm taking somebody, I'm taking them for a reason. And I love this kid to death as a person. I mean, I've talked to him numerous times, and I really think he's a great human being. I'm rooting for him to death.
Very nice kid.
And you could tell just from the intro to our story yesterday when I called him and had the visit go, the usual stuff, blah blah blah, and I'm like, so when are you announcing a decision? And he's like, well, I'm going to announce it tomorrow, but if you want to, just go ahead and tell everybody. I'm like, you sure you don't want me to wait? And he's like, yeah, I could care less. I'm not. He says, I'm not here for Hollywood fame. I mean, the kid, who does that? I'm like, damn, you're old school. Who does that nowadays? He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm a JUCO kid. I was never recruited. I was barely recruited out of junior college. I don't care. He's like, I just want to work. How do you not root for a kid like that?
100%.
But what bothers me is Miami clearly feels the need for another receiver.
I've been
And
telling they don't have a number one receiver.
Listen, you get 85 scholarship spots, and you can take however many transfers you want to fill those spots. I've already explained before how numbers work. I'm not going to go over it again with you, Gary, because I know you hate it. It gives you a headache. Yeah. But you don't want to take guys that are transfers that miss.
I've been telling you, by the way, for many months, don't worry about the numbers. The numbers are going to work themselves out. And here we are. We're in the middle of the summer. We're getting ready for camp to open in August. And the numbers have worked themselves out. They've worked it out.
You still have no idea that I was trying to talk about 2024, not 2023 or 2022, but whatever.
They'll work out in 2024 also.
2023 and 2024, you're going to see a ridiculous amount of roster talent jettisoned either because of the amount of transfers they took, that they took it at the wrong classes. And, cutting a transfer twice is basically death for the transfer. No one's going to take them. They're not going to get a college education the way the system's set up right now. They won't graduate, or they have to pay their own way through college. And I don't know that Mario's going to want to do that. I don't know. It's going to kill Miami's.
I wouldn't try to predict.
They took those kids from.
I wouldn't try to predict, man. It's one day at a time.
You don't worry about it. I worry about it. You don't have to worry about it, Gary. I'll do the worrying for both of us.
I don't
Regardless of that, I'm not going to go over the numbers again and explain to you how 20 kids. I'm not going to explain to you how 20 kids are going to have to get kicked off next year's team if they want to take 28 kids this year or 30 kids this year with the unlimited numbers. I'm not going to talk to you about that because you don't want to hear about it. Fine.
Well, they lost 20 this year, right?
They lost a lot of kids this year, and they needed to. But guess what? They trimmed the fat. There's not a lot of fat. There's not 20 players on the roster right now that I'd point to, because guess what? They're all freshmen and sophomores.
I know, but next year there'll be another wave of transfers, guys that have gotten beaten out that aren't playing.
I'm not going to get into this whole. We got too much to talk about. I'm not going to get into the numbers.
No, we don't talk about numbers now. This is not an issue until after the season.
The point is, they're taking a junior college wide receiver who literally said to me that coaches told him he's starting out behind Frank Ladson. Not that you are even in the job for the first team. They said you're starting out as a backup. And I don't understand why you're taking a transfer receiver when you think your receivers aren't good enough. That's going to be a backup. That's just
because they have a lot of guys on the roster that they don't feel great about that still have to prove themselves. And they're trying to increase the number of guys competing in fall camp.
Here's why you're
the best they got. Period.
Here's why you're in a different spot than I am. If you assume that numbers are numbers and they're not going to just jettison everybody and that this could be on the team the next year, hypothetically, that's one less number you take in the class of 2023 or 2024 or 2025. Is it 2022? He might be a career backup that they love. I don't know. But the fact is, they obviously aren't saying this is a top recruit, right? A top 5-star recruit comes in. They're not saying you're going to be a backup. Come on in. But maybe they could have had
worried about that. They're going to take 3 or 4 elite receivers in recruiting this year. No question about it. They're not, but they're at the end of the day, keep them from taking Colby Young to help them in 2022.
At the end of the day, you have 85 spots, and it's hard for you to convince me that if you're not jettisoning Colby Young in a year, that you can't get somebody better in the class of 2024, not 2023, 2024 than Colby Young. I'm just saying that's a 185th. That's 2%, almost 2% of your roster.
There are going to be guys, Matt, in this receiving core right now that are in that room that will be competing in August that are going to be unhappy with how much they play this season, and they are going to eliminate themselves and transfer. You watch. They're not worrying about this. They are bringing the best players that they can onto this roster because they know that this fan base wants to see victories in 2022.
I'm not playing. Listen, I want as many 4- and 5-star recruits on this roster as possible without upsetting every high school program in the country by kicking their kids off the team. It's unnecessary. That's all I'm saying. It's going to happen, Gary. Whether you like it or not, you can shake your head no. They will be upsetting double-digit players in the next 2 years. There's no ifs and ands and buts if they want to take as many 4-stars and 5-stars as I think they can get. It's just a fact. You can shake your head no. It's a fact. They're not just going to leave on their own free will. They got nowhere else to go.
They got to stand up and make plays. Romello Brinson, you got to stand up and make plays.
Listen, on a purely football,
you got to stand up and make plays.
On a purely football,
you got to stand up and make plays. They're not going to be sitting here saying, "Oh, geez, if Romello Brinson goes another year and doesn't make plays and doesn't earn playing time, oh, geez, if he has to transfer, we're upsetting the Miami Northwestern community. That's not how they're running the program. It's up to Romello Brinson to become a good enough player to where he is playing. I mean, there is no favorites being played here. There is no discrimination. There is nothing. This is pure go out, compete, work as hard as you can work every single day, earn your keep, earn your spot, earn your playing time. And if you're not happy with how much you're playing at the end of the day, it's because you didn't do your best, the best that you could do to position yourself for more playing time, period. And it's not just the receivers. This program is being run like this at every position now. And guys have to be accountable. They have to develop. They have all the coaching in the world now. It's up to each individual guy to develop to the extent of their abilities. And if they're not good enough to play at Miami, then it's good that they go transfer somewhere else. It's better for them. They can
transfer somewhere else. They can't all transfer. My point is, what you said is correct. What they're doing is the best thing for the football program, which is funny because the other day you were on the opposite side and you were saying, no, they shouldn't do what's best for the football program. They should do whatever.
What are you talking about? No. I don't flip and flop. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well,
you may agree with me. You may not agree with me. That's what this is all about. We debate things. We talk about different subjects. We post on the message boards. Message boards are for agreeing and disagreeing. But somebody, my short-term memory's gone, but somebody will remember what you said and how we were going back and forth with what's best for the program or not. That was on the subject of you saying that they should be lying to quarterback recruits.
Yeah, that's what it was. Right. Because that's what's best for the program, right?
No, it's not.
Now you're saying what's best for the program is just take every player and screw what you have to get rid of. You took them as a transfer. They can't get it. They can't get another college degree now.
Right now.
Well, you're not good enough. You didn't earn it. Too bad. That's what you said. You literally just said, which is fine because I don't disagree. Let me talk. I don't disagree. I think that they should do what's best for the football program. This is a business. But the reason why I said what I said before is because I feel for these kids. And that's why I'm on the kids' side on this. Like, I don't want them taking a transfer.
I'm on the kids' side, too. If it's my kid, I want him to be recruited, honestly.
If they're taking a wide receiver,
we might take Jaden Rashada. If Jaden Rashada wants to come, we are going to take two quarterbacks. Are you okay with that? Like, they're not going to say, hey, Henry Williams, you're going to be our only quarterback when Jaden Rashada is going to come to Legends Camp a week later. I mean, you can't recruit like that.
The reason we're talking about this isn't because of that. You keep bringing up other people. We're talking about a wide receiver who is told he's coming in as a backup, as a Juco player, who's a true sophomore.
And he's coming anyway.
If they keep bringing in better and better talent, what chance does he have to be this first-team starter, hypothetically? Like, on paper, you wouldn't think
obviously,
so. Why are they bringing him in?
Because they think he has a chance, clearly, to be better than Romello Brinson, Jacoby George, Keyshawn Smith,
bringing him in for depth,
etc.
They're very honest. They told him, we're bringing you in for depth. Right.
Now, if those guys want to get all hurt and offended, that's fine. Or maybe they take it as, man, they must not be happy with me. I better start working harder. And maybe Romello Brinson, Jacoby George, Keyshawn Smith, etc., are better players because of the competition. Either way, by bringing Colby Young into the program, you are accomplishing something, in my opinion. And if he was the best they could get, then it's fine.
I'm going to tell you something, okay? And this is just what I feel is true. And people may not like it because nobody ever likes what I say. I think that Mario Cristobal has a tendency not to freak out. I don't want to use the word freak out, but to sort of jump when he sees something wrong. And I think he saw something wrong at defensive line, and he took Antonio Moultrie, who's going to be a waste from everything I've heard so far.
He may. I know. We'll see.
I've heard he's not what they expected. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see him play.
Yeah, we'll see.
But they took him first. They're like, oh my gosh, we have a real problem with defensive tackle. Boom, UAB linebacker, we'll turn you into a tackle again. You're on board. Now it's like, oh my gosh, the portal's dried up. Like, what do we do? Oh, boom, there's a Juco guy. Nobody else really wants him, but he looks good enough. Let's take him. Like, you just sort of see them jumping at guys that maybe they shouldn't be.
Did you see all those drop passes in the spring game?
I did. I think he freaked out. Okay. I think Mario freaked out when he saw those.
Well, why wouldn't he freak out? Like, this is a guy that wants to win, man.
How do you fix it, Gary?
He doesn't want to go to College Station and get his butt kicked. He doesn't want to go up to Clemson, South Carolina and get his butt kicked. He wants to compete. He wants to win. if it's not every game, obviously, he wants the Miami Hurricanes to be a representative team in year one. He didn't come here to screw around, okay? And I would be freaking out too if I saw all those drop passes. All right, in the meantime, we're 30 minutes into this show. Guys, you guys that are commuting to work, you may just have to sit in the parking lot for a few extra minutes this morning because this is going to be a little bit of a longer show than our normal shows, but we still have so much more to talk about. So let's get away from the wide receivers. Let's talk about some of the other visits this weekend, Matt. Let's talk about Logan Howland, offensive tackle, took his official visit this weekend. He seemed to have a really good time.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say about him. It's all these other guys, honestly, except for Emory Williams and Rabin Cottrell. I mean, it's just going to be wait and see with these other guys. They're not imminent, or they've announced commitment dates that are, in July or whatever. So,
you're right. There's a few of them.
Every one of them I talked to had a great time, but they're going on other visits. They're going to be thinking about things. So,
all right, so let me just segment them a little bit because you're making a good point, okay? Because we don't need to talk about every single one of them. The stories are on the website, but if you could take Logan Howland, the offensive tackle, Duran Reed, the defensive lineman from Columbus, Georgia, would be another one. I would say John Walker, defensive tackle from Kissimmee, would be a third, okay? You could take those three, put them in one category probably, right, Matt? That they're guys that visited, had a good time, taking other visits. Way too early to make predictions on what they're going to do.
Yeah, and same with Jaden Wayne too, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't include Jaden Wayne on the list because he's a 5-star, so I want to talk a little bit more about him. But yeah, you probably could include him on that list too. But Jaden Wayne has been to Miami several times, seems to love it here every time he comes. Matt, your feeling on Miami's chances? He's a 5-star kid that everybody wants. Are they firmly in the sweepstakes for Jaden Wayne?
Oh, yeah. Someone asked me on the message board, I think yesterday, about it. And I said if signing day was today, I'd feel pretty good about Miami's chances. The problem is, and this is why I keep saying about these out-of-state kids that are top kids, and why, I take the wait and see approach versus the, we won the national championship of recruiting award so far. Is because, Alabama is probably going to get a visit, and he's not shutting things down. Like, when you get a kid on a visit, a recruit on a visit from out of state, and they love it, you see what happens with Reed McKeska, Jackson Carver. You might get some commitments coming up from a couple of other kids that were on the visit that we talked about, right? The Georgia commit and Emory Williams, like they very well might wind up committing. And, so when they come down from out of state and they're taking more visits and they're taking their time, it tends to even things out. That's just how recruiting works. Like, that's how the human mind works. You forget some of the things. Like, if you guys think, if somebody watching this thinks back to the vacation they took 3 years ago, you'll probably remember most of what you did from the photos you took on your phone. That was your vacation
3 years
with
ago.
the photos you have on your phone. You don't remember anything else. And that's how it is.
Yeah, I remember more than just the photos. I had a great vacation 3 years ago.
Okay.
Then this damn COVID hit, and it's.
I'm trying to make a general analogy, because when recruits take all these visits, boom, 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 5 different visits within a 9-month period, some of it gets a little mushed together, blended together, and at the end of the day, they have to make a decision. And the closer you are to that decision that you took that visit, the better. And the fact that some of these kids aren't making these decisions, within a very short period of time, it makes it very hard to predict. And some experts out there might say, oh, he's going here, he's going there. I would urge everybody to just wait and see. That's why I always have to tell people. People want to know where everyone's going. It's recruiting for a reason.
It's harder to predict the way recruiting is now. It's harder to make predictions than it's ever been, in my opinion.
It's almost hard the day before signing day with some of these recruits. I mean, think about it in June.
Very hard right now.
We're 6 months out, and people want to know if Mark Fletcher is coming, like I said. I mean, I didn't say Mark Fletcher was definitely coming. I said, I think he'll be coming. I feel confident he'll be coming because I know Mark and I know his dad, and I know what he needs to see from Miami, and I think he will see it. But can I guarantee Miami's going to show him on the field what he wants to see? No, I just think they will. So a lot of it's guesswork. That's what we do, Gary. You and I are just basically not guest pickers. We're guest guessers. We're guest guessers, not guest pickers.
Well, it's soon going to get even a little more scientific than just guessing, but
That's
we'll
right.
talk about that in a week or so. But anyway, we got a couple more kids to talk about on today's show. But first, let's hear from our friends at Life Wallet.
Hi, I'm Nigel Pack, and when I decided to come to Miami, I knew I had to pack, including my Life Wallet. But you know what else I'm going to pack this upcoming season? I'm going to pack the house. But today, I'm going to stand here and make another trade.
The feed to Pack. He throws another. Give it to him. His third from the corner pocket. When he was persistent. Nigel Pack again.
Never leave your home without your Life Wallet. Saving time, saving lives.
Man, I wouldn't want to go to a video arcade with Nigel Pack and play that Pop-A-Shot game, where you have the rapid fire shots. You played that before, right, Matt?
Yeah, man. When I was 8.
Are you any good? Were you any good?
30, 40 years ago? Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. I don't know the last time you were at one of those arcades, but I haven't been there in a while, Gary. I'm sure you're going all the time? You probably do that little thing, that little hand, you put the 50 cents in and you put the hand that drops down and gets one of those toys for you. Is that your favorite thing to do over there?
No, I have not been at an arcade in, God, at least 15 years probably. But anyway, all right. So Matt, I want to talk about, you mentioned them earlier, Emory Williams, Raymond Cottrell. Emory Williams, the quarterback from Milton, Raymond Cottrell, his teammate, an elite receiver, committed to Georgia right now. They visited Miami together this weekend. All right, we are on serious commit watch for Emory Williams. We think he is ready to jump in the boat, but I think he would love to commit with Ray Cottrell. And Ray Cottrell is a little bit more of a work in progress in this regard. So I think all that's being sorted through yesterday, this morning. I think we're going to see an Emory Williams Miami commit here in the next few days. That's just my opinion. We'll see if it works out that way. Matt, I'm not so sure about Ray Cottrell. I think that's a little bit of a tougher challenge.
I mean, look, what I heard was coming off the visit, which is when, again, recruits are always they had a great time. They got 2 hours of sleep. They were, they loved it. And again, just like as time passes by, it's almost like you wake up the next morning after your 15-hour nap, and it's like, wait, I'm a Georgia commit. Am I really going to flip? And, Georgia, of course, is going to be.
And he already flipped once. He flipped to Georgia. So
yeah,
I think this kid's going to be a little bit more careful.
And Georgia's going to try and obviously keep every top recruit they can. And Georgia's right. Georgia. Right now Miami's Miami and Georgia's Georgia. Without the Emory Williams connection, he would never be going to Miami. So is he really going to pick Miami because of one player who may or may not be the starting quarterback in the future? I don't know. I do, from what I heard and what I posted, as of the end of the visit, I put 90% for Emory Williams and 70% for Raymond Cottrell. But the longer this goes without Raymond Cottrell making an announcement, that percent is, now it's 50-50 for me. Like, it's weird that it's almost an hour by hour thing, because I had thought it would be imminent. Like you said, it could have been last night that we could have heard something, and we didn't. So, we'll see what happens today. I do think Emory Williams comes in the class. Whether Raymond Cottrell comes or not, it's to be determined. I mean, I still think it can happen very easily, but it's just hard to tell what he and his family are going to wind up doing.
Yeah. All right, and then one other story I thought we should talk about is an Oklahoma State commit by the name of Jalen Braxton. He plans to be on Miami's campus this next weekend for an official visit. This one kind of came out of nowhere. He's a cornerback. 4-star, really good player. Matt, how serious is Jalen Braxton, you think? I mean, he's committed to Michigan State. He's visited Baylor, Arkansas, but Miami's talked him into coming down for Legends Weekend. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, this is the exact type of recruit I was talking about, where Mario Cristobal is just not going to say no. A 4-star cornerback committed to Michigan State, wants to come visit. He's not going to say, you're probably not going to come here, so we're not going to have you visit.
No, he's thinking it's Michigan State. We're going to beat these guys. He's going to come down here. He's going to love it. We're going to beat these guys. We like this kid.
Of course. Now, Jalen Braxton will not be a Hurricane, okay? I'm going to tell you guys that right now. I spoke to him for a while. It's just not going to happen, okay? He's coming down because he's buddies with Elijah Arroyo. They played in high school together. They want to have a good time. He does not plan on being a Miami Hurricane, okay? I'm sorry, everybody. But he'll visit.
What if he changes his
mind? That's what I was about to say. He'll visit. Yeah. Maybe something will happen. Maybe he'll see something where he's like, oh, wow, you know? So that's why Mario Cristobal let these kids come. In the past, they wouldn't have had this kid come visit, you know? They would have said, no, you know what? We don't need you to come visit. We're good. You know, because sometimes they get concerned sometimes that, hey, is a kid coming here to recruit for a different school? Is he coming here to tell people not to go to Miami? Like, that's happened in the past, by the way. They've had people they've let visit who wind up recruiting for other schools on Miami official visits.
Good luck to Jalen Braxton recruiting from Michigan.
No, of course that's not going to happen. Mario, of course Mario's not going to. I'm saying that's happened in the past.
Won't happen.
It'll never happen. Mario, that student athlete would never be heard from again. He wouldn't have a flight home. He'd be stuck in Miami. They'd cancel his flight.
We used to call him celebrity visits.
Mario literally would cancel a kid's flight home if they ever did that.
Yeah.
He would, 100%. Slash his tires if he drove, cancel the flight home. It would never happen. But
the way flights are being canceled these days, his flight home was likely to get is 50-50 to get canceled anyway.
Yeah. He could just call American Airlines and say, just add another one to the long list. I had 2 flights canceled back to back. So I had
a guy this week that was telling me his flight got canceled out of New York and he had to pay $1,500 to fly private because he couldn't get on a flight.
$1,500 private's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, I would encourage everyone to go look at that. This not because Jalen Braxton's coming, but because we have a list at the bottom of the anticipated official visitors during this week. There's 3 midweek visitors, and then on the weekend, and there's going to be more. I think there might be more that wind up coming, but I mean, it's just staggering the players they're bringing in, and you know, there's going to be a lot of 2024, 2025, and beyond kids that are at the camp this weekend as well. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I mean, it's literally going to be so many recruits here that I think we'd have to hire 100 staffers just to cover them all. It's going to be like, I think like we've never seen in terms of the amount.
Well, we will be adding this summer 2 writers because Matt's right. Like we are increasing our staff. It is a staggering amount of stuff to cover and we want to cover it well. And, you know, we're going to be increasing staff, but, so anyway, so let's call it quits for today. We thank you guys so much for starting your morning out with us here on Good Morning CaneSport. There'll be a lot more news this week. So stay glued to CaneSport.com and Good Morning CaneSport, and we'll continue to bring it to you and talk about it. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time, everybody.